Every time I have to think about moving abroad and learning the new language, I am reminded of this picture of mine on my wedding. I was in the middle of the picture, and it was a very artistic picture, very beautiful, and I love it. But at one point of time when I was being sentimental, I got to look at it in a different light. In that picture, there are two sets of people that are talking both my sides, and I'm in the middle and I'm just still. Sometimes that's exactly how it feels like being in a new country and not learning the language fully yet. Today, we're going to be talking about the reality of moving abroad and learning the language, the challenges, how to cope, what helps, and how to shift our mindsets. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Did I Say It Right? Podcast. And this is the second episode. If you are new here, my name is Carlie and I am from the Philippines and I just moved here in Germany. I am sharing my experience and I'm bringing you along my journey. I am wearing a summer dress at the comfort of my own home because I can't wear it outside. I wanted to talk about this topic because I think that this isn't talked about enough. The reality of moving abroad, the loneliness, how raw it could be is very real. It's a real experience that most of us goes through. And while the podcast is focused on Germany, the German language, the German culture, I think this could also apply to everybody who are out there learning a new language in a new country. Because I've also moved to Thailand when I was younger. I also had to learn the language, but I didn't learn it as much as right now because I'm with my family and we never really used Thai in our lives mostly. So 9 years there and I could barely hold a conversation. But one thing remains, the experience is pretty much also the same. There's this loneliness, there's this feeling of not belonging. And I wanted to share it with you guys. I wanted to discuss about it and also hopefully get to see what others think about it. And also to be able to share the message that you are not alone. Wherever you are, whatever you're experiencing right now, most people go through this feeling and some people might be closer than you think. And maybe this could be a way to be able to communicate to them and to be able to share. When a person moves abroad, there's already so many things happening in their minds. And it is more than just the external, but more so of the internal. A lot of the challenges go in our head first before it radiates outside. The first thing is the loneliness or the feeling of isolation that I described at the intro. I think like loneliness and sadness could be a very different emotion. It could be something that is coexisting at the same time, but it's a different feeling. I feel like if I am sad, then I just instantly know that I need to cry or I need comfort. But if I'm lonely, mostly for me, loneliness comes on a very public setting. It could happen anywhere in a car, talking to people. Suddenly it's gonna hit you. It's gonna hit me like I'm I am alone in this place filled with people. you know it's very interesting feeling for me. Most of you guys know what it feels like. It's very easy to get isolated, especially if you don't understand the language. If you just moved here and you don't know how to speak it, you don't understand a lot of things, then it's very easy to feel the isolation that you are by yourself. And also it's going to add to the fact that you are not able to express yourself so easily. You are not able to show your personality as easy as you can if you are able to speak fluently to other people. that could also be a real problem. And that could result to you doubting yourself, not feeling confident, and feeling very childish, very dumb, feeling slow. And it could easily take a toll on your self confidence, especially if you have been learning the language for a while. I have been learning the language for 2 months now, and there are still many things that I wish I could do by then. I had so many goals before that I was not able to reach. And that disappointed me and made me feel like I'm not studying enough, or what am I doing? Why are the things not going through my head? These kind of self doubts could easily come across our minds. And when these hard things come, it's just easy for us to think that we should just go home, or we should just quit this, we should just quit learning the language completely, stop adjusting, and you start missing home. You start missing the things that are familiar to you. You start missing the easy conversations, easy socializations. You miss your culture. And trust me, this is very normal and it's a very real thing. But that doesn't mean you should stop. That doesn't mean you should stop, because everything comes through different phases. Everything is at its different level. And just because you're having a hard time right now doesn't mean it's going to be like that forever. Unless you stop, then it's going to be like that forever. Aside from the internal challenges that we go through, there's also a daily challenge outside our head. And that's also another factor to think about. The locals might not realize how isolating it could feel. For me, fortunately, I am surrounded by people who are speaking English and very accommodating to me. The friends, the families that I've met so far, they tried to speak as much English as they can when I am around. And I'm very thankful for that. But we cannot always expect it to everybody, every local. And just like every other country whose main language is not English, even in Thailand, in Philippines, especially in Philippines, our second language is English. And still, you cannot expect everybody to be confident enough to have an English conversation. Same way in Thailand. I think even much more. Thai people also values their language just like Germany, and so they have strong identity to it. So not everybody practices English. Of course, right now times are changing and many people are learning English, but if you're in Thailand, it's just natural. And so we cannot expect people to always adjust. Also if they're meeting, if there's like many people around, if it's a one-on-one, okay, then that's understandable that they speak English the entire time. But if you're in a circle, they will speak the language that they're comfortable with, and that's okay. You shouldn't be offended about it. Us who are still learning the language has to accept the fact that it's normal. That doesn't mean that they're trying to offend you or anything. It's just that it's the natural way to communicate. But although that's natural, it doesn't mean that it sucks any less. Understanding that you will never be able to understand every single thing that's happening is one thing, but it doesn't mean that wouldn't get sad either way, especially those small talks or jokes that you wouldn't understand. Then they have to explain it to you, and then it's not funny anymore, because that's how jokes are. It's not funny when it's explained. Especially for someone like me, I like talking, I like listening to stories, and I just couldn't do it here anymore. So sometimes you just overall try to avoid social situations, because not only that it is draining, it's frustrating, it's also stressful, not just for you, but also for other people that are involved. On social situations, I always struggle with two things. First, I don't want to, I feel burdened when people have to adjust their language to me when they have to speak English for me. But at the same time, it sucks when I don't understand what they're talking. If I get into some situations that are like that, or if I think I'm gonna get into that kind of situation, sometimes I would just like to put myself away from that, not to seem rude, but just I think it's better for everybody. We might sometimes feel like we don't want to go out or we don't want to interact because we don't understand the language anyways. And that kind of thinking, that thing also becomes a part of us feeling isolated. So it's a full circle. And then you would want to practice speaking the language, but it's so hard to find people to practice with, especially outside school, because the locals speak very fast. I would want to try to speak to the locals or try to practice my German, but people speak way too fast and I couldn't follow. It could be a real struggle. You know, outside the school, of course, in the school, there's so many, that's like the place to practice, but it's still different from real life. That increases the difficulty of trying to adjust in the country and trying to learn the language. So, yeah, it's hard. And sometimes it takes a lot of emotional preparation and maturity just to be able to live through it. But here are some of the things that I do or I use to cope and things that helps me. First is listening to podcasts or watching a movie, watching a series that are in German. Sometimes it's also fun to watch a movie that you like in English or in your language and watching them again in the German language. So the subtitles kind of like already in your head. I am not watching any series right now or listening to any podcast right now. What works for me the most is listening to nursery rhymes. Actually, I like the kids' songs. Sometimes I have a whole playlist of German nursery rhymes and kids' songs playing in the background while I'm doing some housework. And yeah, I learn pretty good words. I learn pretty helpful sentences. So that could be one thing that you should try. And next, it all goes down sometimes to just being able to accept that it's never going to be perfect. No one is perfect, anyways. Accept that you're not always going to be using the correct article. You're not always going to remember the right words to say. And it's okay because this is not even our first language. It's all part of learning the language. And there's nothing wrong with mistakes. We can take them as much as we want to. It also helps to remind ourselves that fluency takes time. Fluency takes time. It's never magic. Everything that you can do well, you have to keep practicing it and you cannot just learn it overnight, even if you're talented at it. And it's a known thing that when you learn a language, when you move to a new country, the first years are always the hardest. If this is hard now, it's only going to get better from now on, you know? And and it's good to also surround yourself with people that are supportive and cares about you. For me, I'm fortunate enough to be surrounded with people that are very caring for me because other people have it harder. I even know someone who came here for the first year and nobody wants to speak English with them and they don't know the language yet. So they had to really learn German because their roommates doesn't speak English to them and it's I cannot imagine how isolating that must be and how lonely that person must have been feeling during the first years. But right now, that person is very, very fluent with German. So that's the silver lining. And of course, isolation, sadness, it is such a normal feeling. And sometimes you have to embrace it. You have to go through that feeling. It's a normal feeling. And when you are in that state, it is good to go back to the things that bring you comfort, such as family. I call with my family very regularly. I'm very thankful for the technology that we have right now to be able to video call them. Or listen to the music in your language, watch a movie in your language, cook meals. Just go back to the things that are your comfort zone. And while not everybody has it, I just wish that everybody of us has a really good emotional support. Could be anyone, could be your partner, your pet, family, anything. It's also important to shift our mindsets. This sadness, this loneliness that we're feeling right now, we can use it as a powerful tool to be inspired, to be more motivated. Instead of sulking the entire time, we can shift our thinking into something like loneliness doesn't mean you're already failing. Just because right now it's so isolating, it's so overwhelming, it doesn't mean that you already failed in trying to learn the language. It just means that you're trying to grow, that you are going through something that's not necessarily negative. It's also a way to learn or to find out that you are not stagnating in the place that you were in before. You are trying to be a better person. It might be lonely now, but this too shall pass. It's never going to be like this forever. Trust me. Everything gets better. For every time that you make mistakes in speaking the language, every time that people corrects you, that doesn't mean it's embarrassing. It just means that you are brave enough to try and that you are trying. That's the important thing for everything that you do, every sport, every hobby. What matters is that you always try, you always pick yourself up to do it again or to even go out there. Not a lot of people understand how daunting it is or how hard it is to go out there, put yourself out there, and try to just speak. I know a lot of people who never gets to try speaking in German or in the language that they're learning, and they were never wrong because they never tried. So if you're trying, congratulations, you're already taking a step, and that is brave. Celebrate small victories. With the bravery comes the small victories. You use the right article. You remembered the word. You were able to hold a conversation. Those kind of things. I celebrate my small victories all the time. The last thing that I celebrated would be me in the kitchen table and saying, "Oh, der Löffel, die Gabel, das Messer." So that's just the spoon, the fork, and the knife. And, people cheer up on me and they're also celebrating. It's nice to feel good about it. Even if in reality, it's not that big of a deal. It's good to always look at the bright side. It matters a lot. It makes a lot of difference to be positive and to celebrate small victories. Sometimes improvement is not always 1 to 100. Sometimes it's all 1 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 31 to 32. Doesn't matter. So be out there and be proud of yourself. Now we're going to read some experiences from other people. From the first one is, honestly, I think the hardest part has been just talking. Like, I study, I know the words, but when I have to actually speak to someone, especially Germans, my brain just stops. I get scared of saying something wrong or sounding weird. Even doing groceries make me nervous sometimes. It's not that people are mean or anything, it's just that I overthink every sentence before I say it. That is very normal for us to freeze during going outside, especially if you are alone and if you're trying something new for the first time. I can still remember the first time I tried to do grocery because I was feeling confident. And yeah, groceries can be daunting. And sometimes ordering from a bakery because that requires a lot more talking. Learning the language is one thing, applying it is another. And my advice is to accept the awkwardness. I really like this one quote that says, bravery is not doing things and not being scared about it. It's about being scared and still doing things. And that's courage, that's bravery. So that is something that we as people who move abroad have to be doing, you know? We're already brave enough to move to a new country, and we're doing one level more by being not afraid to try to practice their language. Anxiety is real, and many people go through it. Just keep swimming, just keep trying. Another one says, it's funny. I've been here for a few years now, and I thought I'd be fluent by this point. But what's really hard is that middle stage where I understand a lot, but when I try to speak, it still feels like there's something stuck on my throat. Like I can't say things the way I want to. My thoughts are faster than my German, and that's frustrating. Sometimes I just end up switching to English because it's easier, even though I know that's not helping me improve. Of course, switching to English is the most comfortable thing to do when it's so hard to speak German. And this example only proves that it's not about how long you were here. Many people stays here and still wasn't fluent in the language. We should be kinder to ourselves, really. And for you and for those that are here for a long time now and still struggling with the language, don't focus on the time. Focus on your own timeline. Connect to people. Focus on yourself. People learn differently. Many people are really good with languages, others are not so much. The thing of being stuck when you're trying to speak German or any language of that matter is normal. Just take it as funny, but also find ways to improve, practice, and we're all going to get there. And so, for the key takeaway, I just wanted to say that wherever you are in terms of learning German or learning the language that you are studying right now, you're not behind, you're not slow, you're not dumb, you're just in your own timeline. Everything is personal. This language learning, adjusting to a new country, it's all personal. Everybody's going through it differently. And just focus on yourself because that's all that matters. I wanted to share this quote with you guys. I think it's very wonderful. Language learning is connection, and that starts with being kind to yourself. Guys, be kind to yourself. Have patience with yourself. Love yourself. Be kind out there because it is a really difficult time. And it's okay, it's never going to be forever. So, thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, hit like and subscribe to my channel. Follow me on social media. I have an Instagram and TikTok, and let's stay connected. Once again, thank you, and I'll see you on the next video. Did I say it right?